Hi, and welcome to part two of Body Design by Alyssa's End Your Back Pain series. Today, as I said in part one, we're going to be focusing in on the hip flexors, why the hip flexors cause back pain in the first place, and how we can relieve it. So, how does something in the front of your body end up causing pain in the back of your body? There's a specific muscle and they're actually two muscles, and together they form the iliopsoas. They start in the hip flexor, and it actually is the most powerful hip flexor of your body, and they join together on your hip bone, and they wrap around to your lower back. So when you sit too much, as we said, Americans tend to have desk jobs, and when they have desk jobs, they sit up to 8 hours a day, and that causes a tightening of your hip flexors, and that causes pulling on your back, which causes you to be in pain. It also causes other muscles, specifically your booty muscles or your gluteus maximus, to get weaker. And when they get weaker, again, it can cause back pain. So that's why it's really, really important to check out and make sure that your hip flexors are relaxed and functioning properly. So my very favorite way to release the hip flexors is through foam rolling. I have two of my foam rollers right here. I always have a soft density foam roller on hand. So you can see a soft density foam roller you can actually move. It's very soft. It's perfect if you're a first time foam roller or also if you're really in pain. Let's just say you are reaching down to get a glass of wine, and then all of a sudden you're like, what just happened? And your back just seizes up. Soft density foam roller is exactly what you need. If if it's too hard and your muscles are too tense and contracted, it can actually damage your muscle. So you always want to be aware that you're using the proper foam roller. So start here. And if you have been foam rolling for a while and you're just using foam rolling for maintenance and you're just using it to make sure your body stays healthy and stays pain-free, a harder density foam roller is completely appropriate. If you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but I can press into this, but you can't bend it. This is what I normally use again on my pain-free maintenance days. So what we're going to do today is we're going to foam roll the hip flexor. So again, your hip flexors are right here, literally right where you flex at your hips, right here. So right where you would be bent and flexed all day if you were sitting. So when I release my hip flexors, I love to use the foam roller at a perpendicular to my body. It's going to be on the floor. I'm going to set myself up almost like I'm going into a plank. So I'm on my forearms. I'm going to rock to my left hip flexor. You can definitely go straight on both. If that's where you're at, that's going to be a little less pressure on your hip flexor. So that's great. I can take a little bit more pressure. So I actually like to rock off to one side. So I'm just getting one hip flexor at a time. First, I see what's happening with the middle of my hip flexor. So the very center. And I go up until I can feel the bone of my pelvis, and then I go down until I feel like I'm getting off of that hip flexor area and almost getting into my quadriceps, the main muscle of my thigh. So just a tiny, tiny motion, just a few inches going back and forth. And then when I find out how it's feeling here, I love to rock off to the side. This is where I tend to get very tight. So I see what's happening here, and I go up again so I can feel that hip bone. And then I go down a little bit past my hip flexor, almost into my quadricep area. Next, I like to turn my feet out, still staying on that one side, and then just hit more of the medial portion of my hip flexor. So as normal. I am most tight today in the lateral portion or on the outside of my hip flexor. So I'm going to spend some extra time here. And you're just going to spend about minute, max 2 minutes, just foam rolling back and forth. It should feel nice. You should feel like, oh yeah, something's happening here, but you should be able to hold on a conversation. You should be able to breathe easily. And that's going to ensure that you're not tensing your muscle and causing damage. So I'm actually going to flip over to the other side to show you what I like to do after the minute or two of rolling back and forth. So here I am on that lateral portion, and I just like to bend and extend my knee. This is going to help give a little bit of release to the fascia, which is just encases the muscle just like a sausage. So after I bend and extend a little bit, then I like to do a windshield wiper motion with my legs, and you, it's going to intensify the pain a little bit, or I shouldn't say the pain, the sensation, the feelings of release. And again, make sure you can talk through it. Make sure that you can stay relaxed and your muscles can stay relaxed. I like to do about 30 seconds of each of those. So do both sides of your hip flexors. One side is always going to be tighter, and that's just normal. We tend to favor one side more than the other, but I like to do both to make sure that we don't release one and get the other side overly tight in the end. So add these into your day. I love to do them at least once a day. Some people like to do them twice a day in the morning when they wake up to help kind of get their day started, and at the end of the day to help them relax for bedtime. I'm personally a foam roll before bedtime sort of girl. It helps me to relax. It helps me to get ready for bed and just kind of soothe my body. Those would be the perfect times to do it. But if you have any questions with any of the techniques that we have, definitely send me a message or comment in the comment section, and I would love to chat with you. So try these techniques to help to realign your body, recalibrate your mind, and recapture the real you. I'll see you next time.